People in stock photos, what's the weirdest way you've seen your photos being used? I let a photographer friend take a stock photo of me. I looked sad in it and it ended up on some website about victims of abuse. What kind of abuse? This sounds interesting. It was general, like don't be a victim. I think the website was run by a city in California. How did you feel about that? Weird at first, but kind of funny afterward. It was a good icebreaker. No, I'm not an abuse victim, I just play one on TV. Says everyone with one appearance credit on Law & Order, SVU. SVU likes to reuse their featured extras and guest actors, so a couple of times, I've thought things like, wait, you're a frantic young defense attorney, but I just saw you as frat boy who drugged woman a couple of seasons ago. He got off light to not ruin his life and finished college. The continuity makes sense. Maybe changed his name so he wasn't connected to it in his professional life. In college, a photography student took some pictures of me playing classical guitar. I ended up in a Viagra ad. I was 19. College must have been rough. Yeah, my penis still has scars. You are probably joking, but I knew a guy who had a hard lesson when he was in college about how rings should be removed before a handjob. The ones in his penis, or the ones on her fingers? Edit, how is this my top comment? She wanted to count them to ensure he was of consenting age. This kills the penis. Nah, just take a core sample. All you need is a hollow cutting drill. I didn't even know I was in a stock photo until my grandma bought a picture frame at Sears with my T-ball team picture in it. They saved her a step. I ended up finding myself on one of those now hiring posts on Facebook. For a company I was trying to get hired at. He's literally the guy in the picture. My whole family modeled back in the 80s. Somehow my dad ended up in a brochure for some born-again church that said he was a sinner and adulterer until he found Jesus. Edit, this thing blew up. Thanks for my first gold kind stranger. This takes place many, many years ago when foreigners were a rare sight in Japan. I'm a big, friendly-looking white guy, and I was asked to do some photos of a couple on a date. So I go around to some scenic locals with a beautiful Japanese woman, the photographer, and his assistants. Fun day. Took tons of romantic photos. And that was the end of it. Until a month or two later when my date and I showed up on posters all over the subway as part of an AIDS awareness campaign, because you can catch that from foreigners, you know. Needless to say, my friends and coworkers thought it was hilarious, and amazingly it didn't have any noticeable impact on my dating life. Looking back, my only regret is that I didn't steal one of the posters. Edit, I can't believe my most upvoted post, by an enormous margin, is on my throwaway account. Yeah, still in Japan 25 years later. But now I have a semi-respectable job, so please don't dox me. Thanks for the silver and all the imaginary internet points. Similar thing happened to my trainer a couple years ago. He was running a marathon for an AIDS benefit. One of the things people don't realize is your participation often includes a waiver for all photos taken at the event. His finish line photo becomes the face of overcoming AIDS adversity in a big ad campaign. The problem is he trains a bunch of boxing and MMA guys. You cannot participate in those sports if you have AIDS and other blood-transmitted diseases. So it created a big issue for him with some of his pro clients. Did it get resolved? I'm just imagining him showing a pro MMA fighter his HIV test results like, look. It says here that I'm AIDS-free. I imagine a few years down the road he has it up on the wall and a new guy asks why he displays I and one of the older guys says so you know he is clean, just in case you want to bone down. The university took a bunch of professional photos of me and some friends for their billboards and campaigns. I was pretty surprised to open a handbook and find out I was the face of their fine arts program. Especially pottery. I was a neuroscience major. The same thing happened to me at my college, except it was just a general brochure about the campus. Grandma put it on the fridge, she was so proud of my short stint as a model. I googled my husband's name and a picture of him has been mistaken and mislabeled as N. Coulter's husband. Ha ha ha, now we're talking. I have some friends that found one of their wedding pictures from Facebook somehow printed on a pillow in a market in a Middle Eastern country. Like, They just randomly happened upon their wedding photo in a random street market. They are from the US. Okay, but did they buy the pillow? Yeah, how could they leave that detail out? The nerve of some people. My family did a stock photo shoot when our kids were young, like 1 and 3. A picture they took on our porch ended up in the opening credits for The Americans. Not me, but my younger brother had his picture taken when he was about 9 or 10 for the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. My brother was a really cute red-headed kid with freckles, and they asked my mom if they could use his photo for their promotional materials. A few months later, we get a brochure in the mail with my brother's face on it talking about the Big Brothers program. It was really funny because they had changed his name to Timmy and in little kid handwriting written things like, "I really need a big brother and have you found me a big brother yet?" And then ended it with love, Timmy. My siblings and I laughed a lot over it and called my brother Timmy for weeks. Edit, wow. My first gold. Thanks, kind stranger. This will definitely be passed along. Only weeks? Are you guys really siblings? They didn't say how many weeks. Going on week 762 next Tuesday actually. 14.6 years. Thank you for figuring that out so I didn't have to. It's been a long day. My friend was in a stock photo where he held up a baby picture, and it got used for an anti-circumcision ad campaign. Was pretty shocked when I saw his face on the side of a bus. I'm legitimately in tears laughing at this. It's just so absurd to see your friend's face on the side of bus being anti-circumcision. I'm in an ad campaign in my home state in Australia for the government. In the face of don't buy alcohol for underage people. It's just me looking like a dad who's thinking of buying a drink, obviously for a teenager somewhere. Ironically, I don't actually have my own kids. I get emails from people I haven't heard from in years saying I saw you on the wall of the bottle shop. Which is kinda funny. Well, now I see this exact at every second day. Sup, Dad? My husband and I did stock photos when I was pregnant with our first. I ended up seeing myself later on the side of a bus as well as in a pamphlet for young moms, flattering, at my doctor's office. The more interesting part, though, is that my husband took part in another family shoot, various poses cooking in the kitchen etc. Years later I was looking up a colleague on Facebook and her cover photo was her and my husband chopping vegetables in a stock photo. My cousin took a photo of me wrestling my sister at a family reunion a few years back and it somehow wound up on an online forum about domestic abuse. I had a few of my friends messaging me who were obviously very confused lol. Why were a few of your friends on a domestic abuse forum? One person finds it and says, "Yo, is this Greg?" To another and it gets passed around. I was asked to go to a big opening event party for a park in China. As a foreigner this kind of thing is pretty common, they want some white faces. Free food drink, all the other guests had to pay. But in the end they start guilt-tripping me. Put on this traditional Chinese costume they say, some kind of kung fu looking robe thing. Let us take some pictures they say. Fine, I let them do it. A few weeks go by and random people start pointing me out in public. My students are giggling in class. Finally when I'm out and about someone approaches me. "Are you the guy from?" and shows me a picture on the phone. My likeness in Chinese traditional wear has been printed on building-sized billboards around the city. I look goofy as duck. All around the city where I live and work. Edit, sorry to disappoint everyone but I spent a few hours going through old hard drives and was unable to come up with the photo. My only evidence to prove this story really happened is who would make up such a weird story as this one. You still got pics of that? This will require some digging on my part. I'll go through my old hard drive and see if I've got a picture. Probably 5 years ago if not more. Your story had me laughing since I used to live in Asia and completely understand the whole foreigner photos so I can't wait to see it. My girlfriend and I were backpacking across Japan and this group of young guys ran up to us and begged us to be in their friend's wedding video. We had to run out of the station up to the camera and congratulate the couple on their wedding in terrible imitation Japanese and then say let's go. Or something like that. It was weird but pretty fun. Would have loved to have seen the video.